go. All right, so if we're multiplying 3 times 3.14, what do we get?
9.442.
9.42, do we agree with him? Okay, and it's going to be feet because it's distance. All right, now we have the airplane propeller. We are told that the radius goes halfway, is 24. Well, we're right here. So how are we going to find the diameter? What are we going to do?
Multiply by 2.
Multiply by
That's going to be
2.
48 feet.
Nope, inches.
Inches.
Okay, now we're going to take the diameter and multiply it by 3.14 to get the circumference. What do you get? Take out your calculators. Don't just sit here.
150.72
Thank you. And what's the unit going to be?
inches.
Inches, because it's distance. Okay, it's the distance around. All right, then we have the orange slice. We are told that the circumference all the way around is 20 centimeters. So we're right here at circumference. How do we find the diameter?
Divide by 3.14.
Divide by 3.14. Do that for me.
Oh.
Round to the nearest tenth. What does it round to?
6.3.
Nope, that's 6 after it makes the
6.
3 go to,
6.
should be 6.4. When you take 20 and divide by 3.14, you get 6.36942672. So if we're looking at the tenths place, that 3, the 6 after, it's going to make it go to a 4. What's the unit going to be?
Centimeters.
Now, how do we find the radius? We're right here at diameter. What do we do to the diameter to get the radius?
Divide by 2, which
Divide by-
is 3.2 feet. I mean centimeters.
Centimeters. Okay? Are we understanding how to use this little table here?
Yes.
This little chart is going to save you, which is why I told you to write it in your notebook. Okay? If you didn't write it in your notebook, you can go back to the slide deck and it's in the slide deck. Keep losing that. Okay. All right. So here is a pic. This is problem number 1 on your practice problems now. Here is a picture of a Ferris wheel. It has a diameter of 80 meters. We are being asked to draw on the picture and label the diameter. Somebody give me a definition of diameter.
From one
Riley?
edge of the circle to the other.
Go ahead.
The point from one end of the circle to the other.
Okay, so this would be the diameter?
No, from the
Straight across.
Just to let you Han do it.
Okay, here, straight across, is that the diameter?
From the middle.
Oh, you have to go through the center of the circle. Okay, and then we're going to label it 80 meters. Okay, then they want to know how far does a rider travel in one complete rotation. So a rotation is how far does that person travel one time around. So what are we finding?
80 meters.
What do we
The
find?
circumference.
We are finding the circumference. Okay, what was the formula for circumference? Circumference equals
Pi d.
pi d. Okay, we were told to use 3.14 for pi. What is the diameter of the Ferris wheel? 80. So take out your calculators.
Oh, it's 251.2.
And what's the unit going to be?
Meters.
Meters. Okay. Questions you have for me on how we figured that out? We could have used our little table in the classroom. Look up there, see where diameter is. It tells us to multiply by 3.14 to get to circumference. Okay? Questions you still have for me? All right. Problem number 2, identify each measurement as the diameter, radius, or circumference of a circular object, then estimate the other 2 measurements for the circle. All right, so the length of a minute hand on a clock is 5 inches. What is that? Is that the radius, diameter, or circumference? The minute hand.
Radius.
Radius. Okay, if the radius is 5 inches, how long is the diameter?
10.
Okay, so the
Inches.
diameter is going to equal 10. And then approximately, what's the circumference going to be? 31 maybe?
31.4.
Yeah, it will be 31.4. And these are all in inches. Okay, questions on how we did that? You may want to move over here. All right, the distance across the sink drain. What is that? Diameter, good. Okay, how would we find the radius?
Divide by 2.
Divide by 2. So that's going to be what? 1.9. What's the circumference going to be? $11.9 approximately. If I round to the nearest tenth, get out your calculators and let's work together. Why am I the only one working? I see Kyle over there with his out. All right, the tires on a mining truck are 14 feet tall. What is that?
Diameter.
That is the diameter. So how am I going to find the radius?
Divide by 2.
Divide
which
by,
is 7.
uh-huh. And then the circumference is going to be 3 times that and a little bit more, right? So 22 maybe, if we're just estimating. Does that sound good? Okay. The fence around a circular pool is 75 feet long. What is that? Circumference. Good. How would we find the diameter?
Divide by 3.4.
Okay.
I mean 3.14.
And we're just kind of estimating, so we could say it's the diameter is approximately 25. It's going to be a little bit less than that, but we're close to it. And then how would we find the radius?
Divide by 2.
Divide by 2, which is going to give me 12.5. Okay? All right, the distance from the tip of a slice of pizza to the crust is 7 inches.
Radius.
Radius. Whoa, if we got a piece of pizza, we're wanting to go from the tip of the piece of pizza to the edge. Is that diameter or is that radius?
Radius.
Radius. Okay. So if the radius is 7 inches, what's the diameter?
14.
Mm-hmm. What's the circumference?
Hold on. The radius was 7. How would the diameter be 14?
Because
Radius?
3.14.
No, radius.
Is diameter.
Circumference. Radius. We're starting over here at radius. See radius?
Oh, I thought it
And I
was
want to go to diameter. What do I multiply it by? 2.
2.
Okay.
Sorry, I went the wrong way.
Yep.
I know what the circumference.
What is it?
43.96.
Okay. All right. Breaking a cookie in half creates a straight side of 10 centimeters long. What's that going to be?
Diameter.
The diameter. If the diameter is 10, what's the radius?
5.
5. If the diameter is 10, what's the circumference?
31.4.
31.4, we just multiply by 10, right? Okay, the length of the metal rim around a glass lens is 190 millimeters.
Circumference.
Good, very good. Then we're going to divide that by pi. We'll use 3.14. And we get 60.5. Okay, and then how do we find the radius?
Divide by 2.
So that would be approximately 30.25. Okay, and the last one, from the center to the edge of a DVD. Kyle,
Radius.
do you agree with him? All right, from the center to the edge. So here's your picture.
Diameter.
From the center to the edge.
Like basically like this.
Is that the
Radius.
is that the diameter or the radius? That's
Radius.
the radius. Okay, if the radius is 60, what's the diameter?
120.
120. Think about what does it look like? Okay, and then the circumference, we would multiply that by pi. It's going to be 370 something. Okay, are we good with that? I don't think you had to figure out the other two measurements for the practice problems. Okay,
And then for the practice problems, you have to write down you have to get all of those.
you have to get all those, and it told you to use 3.14. So you may want to actually do the work, because on some of them I didn't do the work. So that means the circumference is 376.8. All right, questions on how we did that? So this little cheat thing will help you if you will use it. And then we go backwards and we divide. Okay, if you will use that, it will help you. Okay, questions you have for me? All right, who needs more time? Are you good? Some of those answers aren't exact because I just estimated.
Yeah, I'm getting them down.
Okay, just take a screenshot of it.
I already took a picture.
I'm going to need to go to my camera then.
Okay, I'll give you a second. Good? Okay. All right, let's move on to 3. A half circle is joined to an equilateral triangle with side lengths of 12 units. What is the perimeter of the resulting shape? All right, so we have a half circle. How are we going to find this distance? What is this on a circle?
Circumference?
That's the circumference. So we're going to use half the circumference because we only got a half a circle. Okay, what does equilateral triangle mean? What's equi mean? What does the prefix equi mean?
Equal.
Equal. What do you think lateral means? Sides.
Yeah.
Okay, so all the sides on this triangle are 12 units long. Okay. How do we find perimeter? Adding up the sides, right? So we have 12 here and 12 here. Do I need to add this 12 here? No. Okay, that's inside. But do I need to know that 12 right there? Because
Yes.
circumference is pi d. What is this line on the circle?
The diameter.
Diameter. So I'm going to take 3.14 times 12, and then I'm going to multiply it by 1/2 because I only have half a circle. Okay, so what do I get for the circumference, this curved part here? What is that distance?
37.68.
Okay, what am I going to do with that 37.68? So the distance here is 37.68. So how am I going to find the perimeter of this shape? How do you find perimeter of a shape? What is perimeter?
Eight together.
Length.
All the sides.
All the sides added up. It's the distance around the outside. So I'm going to take 12 plus 12 plus 37.68, and I'm going to add them up. So my perimeter is going to be 61.68 units. Questions? If it was me, I'd probably be writing this down so that when I saw another problem like it, I would know how to solve it. Because just putting 61.68 into the Canvas assignment isn't going to help you when you have to do it by yourself. Start being responsible for our learning, okay? You need something to go back and look at sometime. We can't all remember it. And I don't expect you to remember it right off. You're just going to get better at it by practicing. Okay, who needs more time?
Now that I understand, this is like really easy for me.
Yeah. But you're putting some effort into it. All right. Problem 4. Circle A has a diameter of 1 foot. I'm going to draw circle A. Okay, he has a diameter of 1 foot. Circle B has a circumference of 1 meter. Which circle is bigger, and prove it to me? What do you think?
So circle A is bigger because
Okay.
so it gives us the diameter, which that means it's 1 times 3.14, and it gives us 3.14.
Wait,
And it's up against 1.
Oh, but this is 1 foot, and this is 1 meter.
Wouldn't the 3.14 make it to where the circumference is 3 feet and like 14 inches, making it 4 foot?
Okay, so circumference equals pi d. So you're saying this is going to be 1 foot around, and you're saying no, it's going to be 3.14 feet around?
Oh, I said 3.14.
Okay, so if this circumference is 3.14 feet, and this is 1 meter, how are we going to tell which one's bigger?
Oh.
It's because 1 meter is the same as a yard, except a meter has 3 extra inches.
Well, are you told this right here? 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. Could I change this into inches? Okay, so 3.14 feet equals how many inches? What am I going to do to 3.14 to find out how many inches that is?
Divided by 12.
Divide by 12 or multiply by 12?
Multiply.
Multiply by 12, okay?
I'm going to switch my answer now.
Okay, so we're going to take 3.14 and we're going to multiply it by 12. So that is 37.68 inches. But I want to compare it to meters. So I want to know 37.68 inches equals how many meters, but we are told centimeters, so let's go there. So if 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters, how do I figure out 37.68 inches?
Multiply multiply by 2.54.
Okay, so we're gonna multiply that by 2.54. That gives us 95.7072 centimeters. Okay, 1 meter equals how many centimeters? 1 meter equals how many centimeters?
Well, like I said, a meter is
1
just
meter equal, we're now all in meters. 1 meter equals how many centimeters? So if the base is meters, I'm going to multiply by 10, by 100, by 100, right? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. What does centi mean? What does the prefix centi mean? How many years are there in a century?
100.
How many cents are there in a dollar?
100.
100.
So what does centi mean?
100.
100. So 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So this is 100 centimeters around. Which one is bigger?
B.
1 meter.
Yep, B is the bigger one. Not by much. Just by 5 centimeters. Well, less than 5 centimeters. 4.3 centimeters.
Whoops.
Okay?
I completely forgot it said feet.
Yep. Units are important, aren't they? Okay, questions you have? Anybody need more time? Okay. Last question. The circumference of Tyler's bike is 72 inches. What is the diameter? So let's draw a picture. The circumference, so that's going around, is 72 inches. And we want to know what is the diameter. What do we know about diameter and circumference?
It's, to get diameter from circumference, it's divided by 3.1.
Uh-huh. So if we go back to this, since we're going this way, we are going to divide by 3.14. So we're going to take 72 divided by 3.14, and what do you get?
Well,
I
I rounded it, so I get 23.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's see what we get. Oh yeah, you get 22.9299, and it keeps going. So he said it was approximately 23, and what's the unit going to be?
Inches.
Inches. Could you say 22.9? Yes. Okay. Did this help? This little
Yes.
cheat table?
Yes.
Use it. Write it down. You don't have to write out the words. You can do exactly what I did right there. Okay? All right, questions you have for me? All right, it looks like some of you still need to go in and finish. All right, this is really confusing. Well, my question to you is, if it's confusing, what have you done to unconfuse yourself? How do we find both their circumstances? Okay, I would assume you're talking about the cheese wheel. You're going to have to do some research. And we never got to the, we never got to the problem about the racetrack. Let's do that real quick. So let's do the racetrack real quick. Turn it off. All right, we want to go inside. So we want this measurement right here. We're running on the inside of the track. Okay? So how long is this distance from here to here? Is it the same as it is down here? Okay, so we've got 84.39. We have two of them, right? The two straightaways. All right, how are we gonna find this distance right here? What is this? If I put those two half circles together, what do I get? A
That's
full
the difference.
circle. What do we know about the full circle? The diameter is 73 meters. So how do I find the circumference of the circle?
Multiply 73 times 3.14.
Okay, so I'm going to take 3.14 times 73. What do you get? What do you get? Take out your handy dandy calculator. 3.14 times 73. Peyton, what do you get?
229.22.
Okay, what are we gonna do with that 229 and 2200 meters?
Rounded.
No, we're gonna leave it right there. What are we gonna do? Where else do we run? That's only running here and here. Where else do we run? Here and here. So what am I gonna do? Add them all up. So I'm gonna take 229.22 and add 84.39 twice.
Miss Ware,
Yeah.
so I did a practice problem and I got all the stuff that you told us to write.
Okay, I'm not gonna go over that right now. I'm trying to do, you should be paying attention to this and we'll fix that in a minute, okay? All right, so when you add all that up, that's how far you run. Now the next problem says, I'm not running on the inside, I'm running on the outside. Okay, so how are we gonna figure that out? Well, now I'm running here. Is this still 84.39?
Yes.
Yes, but now I'm running here. Is my diameter still 73? Nope, because my diameter is going to include this 9.76 and this 9.76. So my diameter is really .2. My diameter is really 92.52. Do you see where I got that from? Okay, so my diameter is 92.52. And I'll multiply that by what to get the circumference?
3.14.
Mm-hmm. And then I'll add 84.39 and 84.39. And if I want to know how much further I ran, what am I going to do? How do I figure out how much further it is to run here as opposed to here? We found the black one on the previous problem. We just found the red one. What are we going to do to find out how much further it is? Why would you multiply by 2? That's a good guess. Why would you multiply by 2?
Because we need to keep adding the rings, you would like, or just solve the next ring. Or
Okay,
however-
but I ran this far. And-
Subtract from the other one?
Yes. I ran that far. You ran this far. Who ran further? The red or the black? The red is further. How much further we're going to subtract? Okay, it's not 2 times bigger. Okay? Questions? Okay. So before you come to tomorrow, we're doing the same thing with a slide deck. The expectation is that you finish the slide deck before you come to class. We come to class the last half hour. All right? You will have a Google form tomorrow as well. So if your name does not show up on my Google form by the end of today, you're going to get a 0 for participation today. All right, have a good evening. Now let's figure out what you did. Okay, if y'all want to go outside and take a mask break, we can do that.
See, I just don't know how I did that much more. And anyways, you said that.
Oh, I don't remember what the problem is. Let me look.
So I put that down because that was the radius.
Let me stop.